Sonora living live, and Merry Christmas to you. Well, there's probably nothing more selfless than saving a life, or more important to the family whose life you help save.
That's right. This next segment is about becoming a bone marrow donor and how a new procedure has made it easier than ever to donate.
Did you know every year more than 12,000 patients here in the U.S. are diagnosed with blood cancers like leukemia, and a bone marrow transplant from an unrelated donor may be their best, if not their only, hope of a cure? I'm pleased to welcome Oscar Correa. He is a match account executive for Be The Match in the Southwest region, along with Amy Patton. She's the mother of a future transplant recipient. I want to welcome both of you.
Thank you.
I want to start with you, Oscar,
Yes.
because there is such, I guess, a misconception out there that, you know what, if I need a bone marrow transplant, it's going to be simple, but it really isn't. There needs to be a registry built up. And how do you guys do that? How do you build these donors?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you know, up to 1984, if you had leukemia or some form of blood cancer, needed a marrow transplant, if you didn't have a donor inside your family, you're pretty much out of luck, which is why the registry was created, to provide unrelated, donors for recipients. So it's these are strangers donating to other people. We currently have over 11 million people on that registry. Another misconception is people think it's going to hurt to donate. And we have a new procedure today called a peripheral blood stem cell procedure, very similar to a plasma donation. You have stem cells in your bloodstream that make marrow. So we have a process to separate those cells, transfuse that into a patient. So it's pretty easy.
It's pretty easy, and it's certainly important. I cannot stress that enough. And Amy, you have a beautiful daughter, McKendry. She's 15 years old. Tell us her story.
Well, about 4 years ago, McKendry started getting really ill, and through a process of working with doctors throughout the country, we learned that she had a rare form of bone marrow failure called diamond blackfan anemia. Along with that, she has an immune deficiency so both her white and her red blood cells don't function properly. She's become transfusion dependent, which means that she receives red blood cells every 4 weeks from donors, as well as plasma every 3 weeks, so that she can live. And so we are working with Be The Match through the bone marrow registry, because she will potentially need the bone marrow transplant.
I was going to ask you that. She is going to eventually need a bone marrow transplant.
Correct. And
this registry is so important. Is there a match for McKendry already?
There is.
Okay.
So for our family, we have 3 other children, and they were all tested, and we learned that news that they were not matches. That's a devastating feeling as a parent, but what the registry does is provide hope for families. And when we learned that there were matches in the registry for her, again, we became hopeful that someday McKendry will have a life without these physical ailments.
And how does she feel? Does she just feel crummy during the day?
She feels crummy.
Yeah,
she feels crummy a lot. Her life has drastically changed.
But and she's so bright and so vibrant, and her smile is infectious. And I want to ask you, Oscar, because Amy said that there is a match. But sometimes when you guys call those donors and say, hey, guess what? We have a patient we can connect you with, those folks aren't ready, are they?
Some of them are not, which is why we really stress to people, if you want to register and become a marrow donor, be sure that you know what the commitment is. Because someday we might be calling you, and someone's life is on the other end of this, depending on it.
How hard is that, Amy, to hear that maybe that donor may not be ready?
We've actually seen it happen. This year we've had 5 friends who've undergone transplant, and one of those friends, when that donor was called, they were not prepared. The other 4 were, and that's wonderful. And so I think Oscar's message is critical, that when you are swabbed to be put into the registry, please know what a commitment you're making, and truly that you're able to save a life. When you see a face of somebody like McKendry, for example, and that's personal to our family, it puts a totally different twist on why you would do what you would do.
And 70% of patients, just like McKendry, don't have a match in their family.
Right.
And it's so easy to swab. This is it?
Yep, this is it. Pretty much it's just a swab of the cheeks. We tissue type you, put that on the national registry, and then as patients are searching, on average there's about 6,000 patients that are looking. If you match someone, that's when we'll call you.
Wow, if you'd like more information about Be The Match, there's the number to call, 1-800-MARROW-2.